Hi kids, welcome to part two. I have most of my parts already, but I still don't have the tuner part down here. You can see I got the ferrules. They're an excellent match. They're original parts off of another Teisco guitar, so they look like they were born there. So that's good. I've got the new volume pot. This is a 250K because that's what Guitar Center had. The original is only a 50K, so we'll see how much of a difference that makes. Maybe you'll get a broader range of volume out of this. I don't know. We'll see. And then I looked up this capacitor. It says 503 M on it. And that should be a 0.05 Mylar capacitor. So I'm going to replace it with a 0.047. I have some of those. That should be almost a direct replacement. And so we'll see if we can get some kind of tone out of this thing, a working tone control, because right now we don't have one. Cleaned up the switch, sprayed it with some electronics cleaner and stuff, and cleaned the tone control, so maybe that'll make a difference too. The frets on this thing are super flat, which kind of worries me. I don't know, I don't have a crowning tool or anything. I might have to price one and see if I can get one cheap enough and just try to crown these frets, because they are flat. I think they're still tall enough, where we could get some use out of them and maybe get some playability into this thing, because it's not worth putting any real money into. I'm not sure. I think they're tall enough to, that you could recrown them. We'll try it. The nut looks okay. I'll have to see if some of these are too low and causing buzz. I'll have to shoot a little baking soda and super glue in there to build it up a little bit. That's about it. As long as the neck's not too wonky, because it doesn't have a truss rod, we should be able to get some kind of playability out of this thing. So we'll see what we can do. Anyway, this is next. I'll put that in and replace that capacitor, and then we'll come back. So hang on. Okay, let's take a look at where we're at here. I've done quite a bit, obviously off camera. When it comes to the rewiring, you can see I've got the volume control in place now. I'll give a full demonstration of this when I have it all finished and strung up with the brand new strings, because it's really hard to tell how well the tone control is working and stuff right now, because these old strings, if you put them back on there to test it, obviously you can hear it. I demonstrated that at the beginning of part one. But looking at these, these don't look like steel electric guitar strings. They look like they're bronze, acoustic guitar strings. So not the best thing. Anyway, there's the repair. There's your new 250K ohm volume pot. I think, actually has less of a volume range than the 50K did, but it works. It's good enough for this. There's your capacitor that we replaced. I think the tone control is working, but like I said, it's really hard to tell right now with just one or two ancient strings on this thing. So once I get it all, put back together and strung up, I cleaned everything. I kind of cleaned the body a little bit. Haven't polished or anything. I'm not going to touch all this up. I'm just going to, it kind of looks cool, warts and all. I shined up the chrome a little bit. The neck plate came out really nice. I got to get some other screws. This has 3 good screws and 2 not so good screws. It's an interesting design. Trying to get this there. Under the neck plate, there are 2 screws that are actually holding the neck to the body. The neck plate is partly decorative, and I think it's also there to reinforce things. When you get the string, get the neck under string tension, this is just to reinforce everything. But this plate and those screws are not what's holding the neck to the body. There are separate screws that just go right into the neck. Anyway, I kind of, when I had it strung up again, I kind of noticed the action was crazy high, so I lowered the bridge down as far as it would go. I had to lower the pickups too. They were jacked up all the way, and I think that's probably because of these strings. They're not, like I said, they're not electric guitar strings. So we're gonna, the action, I kind of had it where it's okay at like the first 3 frets, and then it just starts to kind of, you know, so the neck is, it looks like it's fairly straight and everything. And I put a, you know, put the level on it and all that, and, you know, I don't know, the level doesn't rock back and forth or anything, so it seems like it's, you know, pretty flat, but I don't know. The action tells me a different story, so we'll do the best we can. When it comes to these plastic ferrules, I bought 2 new ones on eBay. I mentioned that already. I should have bought 3 because this one is one of the originals. Kind of started to fall apart on me, so I've super glued it, and then I figured out these are made of styrene or something similar, so my plastic welder works. So I super glued it and then reinforced it with some plastic welder, but unfortunately one chunk came out and hit the floor, and I don't know where it went. So, but since it's apparently styrene, I'm gonna go ahead and take some styrene plastic from a model kit and patch that little hole. The color won't match, but at least it'll look better than having a chunk missing. So I'm gonna try and do something about that right now. So hang on. I just rough cut a piece of styrene, holding it here in my hemostat. We're just gonna drop that in place and use the plastic welder, and this will make it soft, and I'll be able to sort of form it to fit, and it'll dry. It'll harden up again once it dries. So I'm gonna start doing that, and I'll be right back. Okay, see if I can. I want to do this. Try to get it where my hand's behind it. It's in there, and I've been applying the plastic welder to soften it up. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to take a paintbrush handle or something, or the good old chopstick that I've always got handy, and see if we can kind of get it to soften up and kind of go where we want it to go. We could shape it fairly well. It doesn't get soft all the way through, but it actually does soften up quite a bit, and then I can kind of get it to do what I want. Maybe apply a little bit more. That's going pretty well. You want to get it might not have quite enough material in there, but it's getting there. I might have to sand on some of this plastic and make myself a little pile of powder, and then fill it in with some of that just to get it a little bit better, because it's not quite filling in the entire space. But you can see, you know, fortunately this is made of styrene, so I should be able to save this thing. Once I get it all done and all dry, I'll sand it very lightly to kind of try to blend it in a little better and everything. It should be okay. So I'll show you that when it's all done. Well, there it is. Right there, that's the repaired spot right there. And that all worked really well. I was able to take the plastic welder and make a new piece and get it to form fit in there, and then I just sanded it lightly to kind of get it to, you know, to smooth it in, make it fit more or less perfectly. It came out pretty good. And then I was able to take some of this colored wax, and I got it to take some color so that this isn't bright white anymore. It actually blends in pretty well, you know. So, you know, this one has a crack. That one's got a little crack. This one's got a crack, you know. So if this one has a lot of cracks, it really doesn't matter. It's very solid now after I super glued it and used the plastic welder on it. So it'll do, you know. And the tuner works fine. There's no, you know, so I think it's good to go. So we're kind of stalled out right now until I get this other piece, which I'm hoping will be here tomorrow, or at least early this week, and then we can finish this up. Just gonna finish putting it together and see how it looks and see how it sounds. So keep watching. We'll get to the end of this video real quick. I got the replacement tuner. Might be just a tiny bit shorter than the others, but it looks exactly the same otherwise, so I'm not really worried about it. Originally, it came out of this different model guitar, but just took the star gear and the tuning shaft out of this and installed them in this. So that's what it looks like from the front. That's what it looks like from the back. The gear is a slightly different shape. This sort of has the edge rolled over a little bit. It's not quite as flat as this one, but it has a Phillips screw instead of a standard, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, it works fine. And that's all that really matters. We'll be able to tune it up as best we can and get it working again. So that's, compare those two. Looks like it, you know, pretty much looks like it belongs there. It's not exactly the same, but it's awfully close. Looks like just a tiny bit shorter. Anyway, next we're going to start leveling and crowning these frets to try and get a little bit more playability out of this thing. And once that's done, we can string it up and finish it. So just about done with it. So just hang on and we'll wrap this up. What I'm doing now is I'm attempting to crown the frets, which is not something I've ever done before. So we're, you know, these frets are really flat. So I'm taking a file and I'm trying to give them a little bit of a crown. The idea being that when you press down on the string, instead of the string landing at the back of the fret, it'll land in the center, which is better for your intonation. So I bought this little fret file. That's specifically what it's made for. But I've been doing most of it with just a three-cornered file. I just take the old Sharpie there and color the fret, and then I just kind of come in with the file and kind of, you know, just take down the shoulders a little bit, just to kind of give it more of a peak. So that's what I'm doing right now, and just about everything else is done. Once we do this, we're going to try to go ahead and string it up and see how it does, even though I'm sure this neck is not 100%. We'll try to get the action set up as best we can and make it reasonably playable. So hang on for that. Okay, well, I got a crown on the frets as best I could, and I've never done it before, but watched a couple of videos and kind of tried to do the best I could. So I think that's about it. So we're gonna go ahead and string this thing up and see how we are for the action height and everything. So we'll get right to that. Hang on. Well, you want to hear something stupid? My pack of strings that I bought. Sorry, my pack of strings that I bought only had 5 strings in there. Well, literally the cheapest set of strings they had at the Guitar Center. So so I'm missing my B string, I believe it is. Anyway, just want to give you a quick demo. I don't play guitar anymore. My nails are way too long. My fingertips are like butter. But there you have it. So let's see if we can just give you a quick something here, just to... That's the bridge pickup, and that is this is the neck pickup. Here are the two together. Turn the volume down on the amp a little bit. Anyway, the volume works fairly well. Let's see if we can just... Doesn't have much of a range. Neither control has much of a range. It's almost, but not quite, just on or off. And the tone control is the same way. So if you just hear, it's better if you do just an individual string. Changes just a little bit, not much. Anyway, the action is okay at the first fret or two, and then it just ramps up until it's just crazy high down here. It's just ridiculous, but you know, that's what you get when you have a neck with no truss rod on an old guitar. It's just not going to get any better than that. I cannot bring the action down anymore at the bridge. I just can't. I put it down as far as it will go, and I've still got this monster action up here. So anyway, there you have it. These pickups are ridiculously microphonic. But I knew they would be, because I've seen other videos about these cheap Teisco guitars. Anyway, that should do it. I got to put it back together as the best I can do with it. You know, there are ways to fix these necks, but I don't have the capability to do it. You know, I've seen people take the fretboard off. They'll route a couple of slots in it and put these carbon fiber rods in there. The reason they do that is the carbon fiber rods will bend one direction, but they won't bend the other. So they lay them in there, instead of laying them in there flat like this, they put them up on their side, and they don't bend that way. So they get the neck pulled down to where it needs to be, and then they put those carbon fiber rods in there and they glue the fretboard back on. Obviously, that's not worth doing in this guitar. So we're just going to leave it the way it is and give it back to the owner, and she can have some fun with it. It's about all it's good for is fun. It's certainly nothing like a professional instrument, but it was a fun project. Got the new neck screws in there and everything, and I think that, you know, everything's looking pretty good. Got everything going on down here. Got all those ferrules and tuners and everything put in place. The replacement tuners are just a fraction shorter than the others, but looks all right. You know, got all the knobs and everything. Knobs and switches are all there. All the hardware is there. You know, the chrome's not too bad. Strap buttons are there. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. Got a couple of other projects we're in the middle of that I'll get right back to as soon as I can. I guess that's it for now. Thanks for watching.